Hello everyone! Today I'll be working on a scarf made from gorgeous thrifted Angora yarn and showing a good day at a recent art market. I hope you enjoy. My name is Took. I'm a disabled genderqueer weaver who's had life take odd turns, but who knows that even tattered and worn yarn still has value, and that tired joints and health flares don't have to stop the journey. I weave exclusively with secondhand fibers, aided with adaptive warping, HR and OSHA cats, and a wonderful found family. Welcome to Hawksong Weaving, where all our paths are a little bit warped. For this scarf, I'm starting out with a base warp of merino yarn that was donated to me from an older crafter who was looking to de-stash. I found the aqua Angora and the paired ombre merino yarn at a local thrift store. Most of my yarn for Hawksong Weaving comes from the Cooley Dickinson Hospice Thrift Store or the Goodwill Thrift Store, both in Northampton, Massachusetts. This was a fantastic haul. I got a lot of really soft aqua Angora and purple Angora, and these will be making quite a few gorgeous scarves. A bit of an explanation on why I've developed this adaptive warping method. I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which has cascaded into postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So, for time's sake, know that I have joints that don't work, and if I shift positions too quickly, I get pre-syncope or pre-fainting symptoms. All of this comes with chronic pain, so for a lot of reasons, a traditional warping board doesn't work for me, along with being really expensive and taking up a lot of space in my small studio. So I use an accordion coat rack as my warping board. It's nice and neat, it contracts down into a nice smaller space, and I can adjust it as I need to. And I don't need to be up and down and all around and having tachycardia, a bracing heart, that stresses out my medical alert cat Penelope. All told, the warping process takes about 15 to 20 minutes, but I'll be speeding it up slightly so that this video doesn't take forever. With the warp threads sorted, I'm lifting up the loom to release the warping board from the loom, gathering the warp threads into one large bundle and using the back of my neck to drape them over and keep them tidy and out of the way. I use terry cloth towels to cushion the warp threads. This helps prevent the finished weaving from being tighter at the ends and looser in the middle, creating a sort of sausage profile in the weaving. The way I warp has me cutting the warp loops at the end of winding the warp. This is what's easiest on my body. It won't work for everyone, but that's okay. This isn't the best angle, but I'm being careful to pay attention to how the warp threads are laying on the back bar of the loom, and the right hand thread goes through the smaller hole in the rigid heddle reed. It's not critical, and some minor mistakes aren't the end of the world, but it does help make it easier to keep the tension of the warp threads even across the entire weaving. I'd like to thank you for watching. If you'd like to support my work, some free ways to do that are to like, subscribe, or follow, and share. This applies to other small artists as well. It's a great way to let the social media algorithms know that this is content worth watching. If you'd like to support me financially, there's a Buy Me a Coffee linked below, which acts as sort of a tip jar. Also, now that there are so many of you absolutely fantastic and wonderful subscribers, I've been able to link the online Hawksong Weaving shop, so feel free to check out the unique hand-woven products. This next bit is absolutely a joke, but just in case, in this economy, I won't say no. For $1,000 a month, you can tell me that I'm not actually disabled, I'm just lazy, and to try whatever yoga, juice cleanse, snake oil nonsense fixed your cousin. Feel free to message me, and I'll get you my payment deets. I take Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal for this nonsense. As I've been filming this, there has been a housefly just flying around my studio the entire freaking time, and it's been driving me absolutely nuts. I don't know who is more actively pissed by its existence, me or the cats, but I took my laundry out on the line earlier, and it's been buzzing this entire time. I'm so done with this from a sensory perspective, and from a house husband perspective, and from a weaving perspective. I wish the cats would catch it sooner rather than later. Thankfully, one of the cats did end up catching the fly shortly after filming that little tidbit. To no one's surprise, it was Belith. Hades' himbo is too dumb to actually catch a fly, and Penelope did her best, but Belith is younger and therefore more spry and doesn't have messed up back hips, so yeah. Attaching the warp to the bottom apron bar is pretty easy. I finger comb it and get it separated into bits about 4 to 5 warp threads wide, separate those bits into 2, and then do a half hitch tie to the apron bar. And then on to the quote-unquote fun bits. This was so much fun to weave. The textures were just fantastic. The Angora was so soft, but not that fake soft that like catches on your fingers and your calluses. Oh, it was just delightful. Absolutely wonderful. 10 out of 10, no notes. Midway through the weaving of this scarf, I took a quote-unquote break to go vend at the East Hampton Makers Market. This is one of my favorite events. This is my second time vending here. It's so well run, each spot is mapped out, there's a set schedule for arrival, I love a well-run market. My friend Avery, a fellow transmask artist, I'll link his Instagram below, came along to help me as I'm still recovering but healing really well from my double mastectomy. We had a lot of fun together, and I'll drop some hints. He and I and another friend of ours and I are working on something big, like changing the lives of other artists in the Pioneer Valley big. I'll be posting more about that as we get through the legalese surrounding it, but I am so freaking excited for it! Now tying off the scarf fringes the next morning, after I spent the evening recovering, I prefer to do 2x2 warps tied into a fringe of 4, but we'll also do a double sliding knot of 3 if I don't have a wide enough warp. I steam block my wool blend scarves. This helps the wool fibers to soften into each other and relax into the weave. Without blocking, you can get wrinkles because the weave tends to be stiff without the added heat and water. That was less of a concern with this particular scarf. The Angora and Merino just really wanted to cling to itself. It was really, really sweet. And of course, we've got Hades Himbo taking a nap in between watching his cartoons, aka the bird feeder, in the background. He does not like the hissing of the steam, but he's gotten used to it. Once the steam blocking was finished, I eyeballed the length of the fringe that I wanted and used the "don't ask me how much I spent on these good shears, and trimmed it. The final step is between half an hour and 45 minutes of tying the fringe knots. This step isn't necessary with some yarns, but it does create a more finished, polished looking product and can be nice. It's nice. It's nice to have the finished ending to things. And of course, partway through, Miss Penelope Calico came along to remind me that, excuse me, 1 cup of tea does not constitute breakfast. Now, in my defense, or not defense, I suppose, but I can be a bit slow when it comes to realizing what she's trying to tell me. I thought she just wanted to cuddle before she jumped down, pointedly mewed at me from the kitchen, and then I figured out, oh right, breakfast. Thank you for coming along as I wove a scarf from different thrift store and secondhand Angora and Merino yarns. I'm so glad for the odd turn that your path took that brought you here. Thank you for spending time with me at Hawksong Weaving, where we're all a bit warped. And I hope that you have a truly excellent week.